Hey, want to run Ubuntu on your Mac? I'll show you how. Let's get started. Hey everyone, my name is Jeremy. Welcome to another video. If this is your first time here and you would like to learn more about web development, digital marketing, or just be kept in the know about the latest and greatest in technology, start now by subscribing and clicking that bell below. So what is VirtualBox? You may have heard the terms virtualization products, virtual machine, or VM. Basically, virtualization software allows an entire operating system, referred to as the guest, to run on another operating system, referred to as the host. VirtualBox is a powerful virtualization product for enterprises and/or home use. Not only is this a great product, but it's also completely free to use as open source software under the terms of the GNU General Public License version 2. There are many reasons why you might need to run a virtual machine on your computer. Access to particular software, development testing, or you just want to take the latest shining operating system out for a spin without the commitment. Regardless of the reason, VirtualBox makes having multiple operating systems on your machine a trivial task. Alright, let's get started with VirtualBox. First thing that we need to do is navigate to their website, www.virtualbox.org. Once there, click on the Download VirtualBox link. You'll be taken to the Downloads page. Here we're looking for system or platform packages. Select the correct package download for your system. I'm on a Mac, so I'm going to select OS X. And decide if you want to save the file or open it once the download is complete. I'm going to select to open it. Download will take just a few seconds or up to a couple of minutes. There we are. Once the download finishes, double-click the VirtualBox package file and follow the installation directions. Click Continue. Change the location if you want. I'm going to leave mine the way it is. Click Install and enter your password when prompted. Now VirtualBox is installing. And there we are. On to the next step. The next thing we need to do is download the Ubuntu ISO file so that we may install it as a guest operating system. So navigate to ubuntu.com, and once on the home page, we're looking for the Downloads button. We want to install Ubuntu Desktop. So I'm going to click on the 18.04. LTS stands for long-term support. So it'll be supported for a little bit longer. 19.10 is the latest and greatest Ubuntu, but I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with the long-term support. Go ahead and click that. Our download will start automatically, and it has. We're going to go ahead and save the file and click OK. And depending on your internet connection, the download will take anywhere from a couple of seconds to a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, Ubuntu is completely open source. Any donations is greatly appreciated, so if it's within your means, go ahead and throw them a small donation. It definitely helps with their development. With VirtualBox installed and Ubuntu downloaded, we're ready to create a new virtual machine. Open VirtualBox and click New. Here we're going to name our virtual machine. I usually like to keep this pretty simple and name it after the operating system. So in this case, I'm going to name it Ubuntu 1804. I usually leave the machine folder just as default. Type Ubuntu is obviously a Linux distribution, so make sure that that is Linux. And if it's not already selected, go ahead and select Ubuntu 64-bit and click Continue. On this screen, we get to select the amount of memory we want to allocate to the guest system. A good rule of thumb here is to never allocate more than half of the memory on your host system. So if you have 16 gigs of memory on your machine, don't allocate more than 8 gigs to your VM to reduce the risk of crashing your host machine. Okay, so jumping back to the Ubuntu's downloads page. So this is ubuntu.com/download/desktop. We can see some recommended system defaults. So they recommend 4 gigs of memory. That sounds pretty good to me. So 4 gigs of memory is 4,096 megabytes. So I'm going to allocate that and click Continue. For the hard disk space, make sure that Create a Virtual Hard Disk Now is selected and click Create. Okay, I've never had an issue with just selecting the VDI, the VirtualBox disk image here, so I want to leave that as default and click Continue. Here we want to make sure that dynamically allocated remains checked so that the guest operating system won't use the space on your physical hard drive until it's actually needed. So we'll go ahead and click Continue. And this is where it is going to be created. I normally leave that as default. And here we get to select the size of the hard drive of the guest operating system. So depending on how you plan on using it, you can select more or less. The recommended is at least 10 gigabytes. I will get back to the recommended for this install. So we'll go ahead and click Create. And now we have a virtual machine. The next step is to fine-tune the settings. So let's go ahead and click Settings. Under General, we can see the information that we entered earlier. Let's go ahead and click on System. Now we can see the base memory of the virtual machine that we allocated earlier. We want to click on Processor. We'll probably want to adjust the process slider, but like memory, we don't want to go more than half of our available CPUs. Since we've installed Ubuntu, we'll probably be just fine with 2 CPUs. So we'll stick with that and click. Next we want to click Display. Now video memory, we're going to want to allocate as much as possible, so we're going to slide the slider all the way over. Under acceleration, we want to enable 3D acceleration, and we also want to enable 2D video acceleration. So graphically, this is just going to give us a much smoother user experience. Now we want to click on Storage. So this is where we're going to actually add the Ubuntu ISO that we downloaded earlier. So under Controller IDE, we want to click on Empty. And we have the optical drive here. Go ahead and click on this little disk here and select Choose a Virtual Optical Disk File. And we want to go to wherever we downloaded that. So in my case, it's in the Downloads directory. I'm going to select the ISO and click Open. We see that changed the IDE here. And we want to go ahead and click OK. So now all of our settings are updated. We're more or less optimized. You can also see a shared folder here. If you wanted to share a folder, say your documents folder between your host machine and your guest, you can add that here. I'm going to go ahead and skip that for now. And let's get to the moment of truth. Let's go ahead and click Start to fire up our virtual machine for the first time. Okay, after the virtual machine has fired up and we've got it all, the windows all rescaled, we are ready to install Ubuntu. So we will go ahead and click the Install Ubuntu and follow the directions. Select our language, English US, continue. Normal installation and download updates while installing is fine. Go ahead and click continue. Erase disk and install Ubuntu. Now, this is looks really scary. This is only dealing with the virtual machine, not your host. So this is only the guest operating system. So we'll go ahead and install now. And continue. Alright, success. After a fresh install and a reboot of the virtual machine, we now have Ubuntu installed and working. We can click on our username and log in. And we can take a look at Ubuntu 18.04 LTS for the first time. All right, we made it to the end. We now have a fully functional Ubuntu 18.04 LTS running in a VirtualBox VM on our Mac. Pretty awesome. If you found this video helpful, write gratitude in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.